It's Jason with more insights and strategy, and today we're going to talk a little about AWS Summit 2024, which wrapped up yesterday in New York. I was down at the show. Thanks to AWS for having me down there. Here's kind of my three big takeaways. There was a big set of new evolution for Amazon Q Developer by leveraging some of the underlying bedrock infrastructure and how it's now doing memory persistence between different agents within a in that environment basically. You're now able to do much more complex tasks. So within Q Developer, instead of just saying, hey, I need help and get a snippet of code or have code written from a set of more advanced prompts, you can actually build an entire plan to build an application from requirements, like say a requirements feedback loop, if you will, coding, testing, documentation. It all can be packaged up and delivered, brought back to the developer for their review, and then pushed to deploy. So it's more of an entire development process versus just coding itself, which is a kind of big deal. Um, the second thing that really stood out to me was the new AWS Studio tool set, which is a low code tool set, something sort of new for AWS, even though they've had things like QuickSight in the past. This is much more in line with what you've seen for other low code tools. However, it's really more AI native. So the idea is that you actually start with a prompt to build the app instead of kind of it being something that happens after you begin developing, right? The other cool part about it, which is it solves some different types of low code problems. So, for example, there's a lot of templates that come along with no code and or low code applications, and when you begin to use them you kind of start from a template, then modify. Now you have a bunch of different um, templates kicking around. It's kind of a bit hard to manage, but really, since you're starting from an AI prompt, what really Amazon's providing to you instead of a template per se is actually just a prompt. And what's really cool about it, in addition to that, is that it's serverless. So once you instantiate an app and save it, it actually only operates when somebody invokes the app. And from a charging perspective, you're only really using it when it's being invoked. So if you have, let's say, a process that runs intermittently, like maybe some sort of data gathering process that somebody did on a clipboard before, well, now you could maybe load that up and say an iPad or a tablet device. You could do the collection automatically, run it, push it out, and then the app shuts down. So it doesn't take up a lot of capacity. So very cool kind of new technology and a kind of new thinking around low code, no code, with the benefit of having started from Gen AI being out versus kind of as an add-on later with a lot of other low code platforms out there. Number three is really the layer underneath QApps, which is all of the uh, capabilities at the governance layer, let's call it, or what's starting to emerge as a governance layer within AWS. You had the original idea of the API where you could really connect to different LLMs and utilize different LLMs, the Bedrock API set. But now they're taking it even further. So a really good example of this is a new capability, which was kind of my favorite thing at the show, which was called guardrails. And what Guardrails does is it provides a format and a way to do responsible AI and put limitations around the type of content that gets serviced. Um, that could be things like hate speech, or it could even be things like corporate policy or things you don't want to share, or being able to block different types of data to different types of users. So this is all stored in a database. And what happens with guardrails, which is really unique, is since it's been abstracted away from the LLM, you can use it across any LLM you want. However, Amazon took it a step further and also put an API in front of it. So now you can also use it any LLM you're using outside of Amazon. So instead of it just being an Amazon specific capability, it can be used for any AI app. So kind of think of it as responsible AI as a service is kind of the notion that they're trying to go with there. Very cool technology, very cool concepts. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot more research from me and the More team in the next days and weeks, delving a little deeper into this stuff because it was all quite impressive. It was a great show. And try to stay cool out there. It's pretty hot this summer. So have a good one.